Hi there, welcome to Box Pride. This is my reaction to the fight that's just happened last night between Vitali Klitschko and Dereck Chisora, where Vitali Klitschko retained his heavyweight title and won a unanimous decision. First of all, I think that Dereck Chisora did better than many of us, including myself, thought he would. First of all, I just want to address the whole thing surrounding the fight, where Dereck Chisora, you know, the slap at the weigh-in and the way he was acting on the night in the ring. Whilst I don't necessarily agree with his actions and his behaviour from a moral standpoint, I must say this: Dereck Chisora went into this whole thing with the right attitude for a fighter. He went into this and showed them a complete lack of respect, and I feel that that was a main reason why he ended up doing so well. Other fighters, let's face it, we have blamed other fighters for going to Germany and fighting the Klitschkos and just being there for the payday. That's how we explain it. They're there for the payday. But really, what they're doing is showing too much respect to the Klitschkos, and they're not in that right mental attitude, that right mental place to go in there and really give it their all. Chisora, some of them go like David Haye, and they do everything before the fight. They show a lack of respect. They say they're going to do this and that, and they get to the ring, and then it all falls apart, and they don't carry it on where it matters. Well, Dereck Chisora last night, he did carry it out in the ring. Even after the fight, he carried on. He stuck to his guns. He made a decision way back that this is how he's going to approach this fight, and he wasn't going to veer from that method and from that attitude. And I give him credit for doing that. I think he took it into the ring before the fight. He wasn't gonna, you know, when he was getting in their face, he spat the water in Vladimir's face. Like what I said, I don't agree with that from a moral standpoint. He maintained that lack of respect. He showed them that, okay, now we're in the ring, nothing's gonna change. I'm still here. I still want to knock your head off. I'm still going to give it everything. You're in a fight here. You know, I'd not just come for the payday. And that's what I liked about Dereck Chisora from a fighting standpoint. He had the right attitude for a fighter. You know, I've said it about Shane Mosley in particular. He hasn't got the fighting attitude anymore. His skills don't matter. Deterioration, people talk about that. It doesn't matter. Age, nothing matters. It's his attitude. His mental attitude. He's too nice to be a fighter, and that's why he loses fights. He's willing to accept defeat. He's willing to accept survival, and Dereck Chisora did not accept that last night. He fought almost like a guy who'd never seen the Klitschkos before. That's how you need to fight. I said in my prediction video for this fight, if I'm going to give Dereck Chisora any advice, it's to just fight his fight, go in and just do his thing, how he fights, and give his best to his ability. Don't adapt his game plan, don't back up, just keep coming forward, putting pressure on, doing what he does. If he got knocked out, I'd be happy that he just given it a good go. But don't do what David Haye did. I know his game plan was a bit different. He was going to fight on the back foot, but don't do what all these other guys have done and just go in and basically try and adapt to the Klitschkos to beat them in a way you never normally fight. What Chisora did was he fought how he always fights. He fought to his strengths, and that's what his trainer said. His trainer was right, and this is where they got it correct. Is that Chisora's trainer said too many people go in and fight the Klitschkos and focus on the Klitschkos' strengths and not their own strengths. Well, Chisora and his trainer focused on their strengths last night, and although they didn't win the fight, he put on such a good show and such a good performance in defeat because he focused on his strengths, and that's what I was I really wanted to see, win or lose. Chisora did it for me last night. It was an entertaining fight. I was entertained. I enjoyed the fight, and I hope that more heavyweights who challenge the Klitschkos take a leaf out of Chisora's book. You have to give the Klitschkos a lack of respect within reason. Obviously, you don't walk into their punches, but you have to fight to your strengths. And I think Chisora took some good punches. He's got a good chin, Chisora. You know, he's durable. I did think Vitali would get to him late on, but he just kept coming forward. Chisora taking shots, he got some shots of his own. He worked the body very well. You know, and you saw that took it out of Vitali later on. That's what was probably making Vitali that extra bit more tired, was the fact that he's getting peppered around the body quite a lot. I think Chisora got inside the jab better than most people we've seen in recent times. He really got inside that jab quite a lot. I'm not sure whether that's because Vitali's jab is slightly less robotic and out there as Vladimir's, but Vitali sort of tends to lower his quite a lot. And if he's not, attacking with it, it does lower a bit. But I was impressed with Dereck Chisora last night. The way he was able to use his usual game plan. His head movement was fantastic. He did remind you of Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson, that type of inside head movement coming in. And he didn't win the fight, and it wasn't enough to win the fight. But let me talk about the fact that Vitali, although we're saying he looked old, Vitali was in there against a tough opponent last night, and he did very well. It was a very good performance. He was in a fight. I'm convinced Tyson Fury, if he'd fought that version of Dereck Chisora, would have lost. Tyson Fury wouldn't have lasted that fight probably, and he would have lost the decision if Chisora had fought that well against him. I just think that Vitali coped with it as very well under the circumstances. Because it's a Klitschko, we expect him to dominate completely, and I think because it's Dereck Chisora, the name Dereck Chisora, and not maybe a bigger names from the past, we think Vitali looked bad rather than Dereck Chisora looking good. But I think we should look at this. Dereck Chisora did very well, and he fought a very good fight by anyone's standards. I really do think that. I think he was a very tough opponent last night, and it could have, if Vitali hadn't been on his game, and he, been a bit more lackluster, I think that it could have gone the other way. He was under constant pressure, remember, more than he's pretty much been for a while now, since he can probably remember. He hasn't had fights like that for years, so he's had to adapt in the ring there, and it's probably harder than he thought it would be, even though he was saying before the fight this is going to be a tough fight, probably even tougher than he thought it would be. And Chisora was dangerous in there right up until the final bell. I was impressed with Chisora's stamina as well, but when you have a pressure fighter keep coming onto you, it's difficult, and I think Vitali did very well last night. And I don't, while I'm giving Chisora a lot of praise, that's probably because I didn't expect him to do that. If I expected him to do that, I probably wouldn't be saying all these really good things about Chisora. It's just that Chisora showed me in this fight that he's had a vast improvement, and he's shown his full potential really. He's worked on some things, and he's coming in how I want to see him fight. And I just think he did himself proud. But let's take nothing away from the victory for Vitali. It's a very good victory, a very good fight, and a very good win for him, and a very good performance. I know he got tired, but you've got to think he was on the defensive the whole time. He really. Other fighters would have just cracked under the pressure. There was a lot of good body punches, good pressure by Chisora, who was really testing his defense and testing his will. And Vitali pulled through, and he was able to still use his powerful right hand, which he landed on numerous occasions onto Chisora's chin. He was able to use his own hand speed against Chisora. Even with Chisora's very good head movement, he was still able to catch Chisora coming in. He was able to still get a relatively good timing of Chisora throughout the fight in pockets. He was able to, use that reflex defense. He had very good lateral movement in defense, very good moving backwards in defense. Just a good defensive display by Vitali. I know the commentators here in the UK on Box Nation were saying that his punches going backwards are arm punches, and a lot of people think that going backwards is how getting Vitali to go backwards is how to beat him. And I think, yeah, they maybe are arm punches because he's not coming forward and putting his whole body into them. But he was still giving, he's still got the power there to stop you from doing stuff. There were moments in the fight where, Chisora did stand back a bit and didn't come in because Vitali had given him a couple of blows and shown him, hang about. The power's still there. Don't get carried away. And he did win the fight. Vitali won the fight. He had accurate punches throughout the fight, more accurate punches, and he did land more effective and more often better punches than Chisora did. And it just showed how difficult it is to beat a Klitschko. We all say to beat a Klitschko you need to get inside his jab, and to beat Vitali you need to get inside his jab. Well, Chisora did it quite a lot last night and was still unable to do enough to win the fight, and that was on a good performance. So it does make you think, how do you, it's very difficult to beat Vitali Klitschko. How do other people look at this now? Do they think they need to go in with the same game plan as that, or do they fight on the back foot? It's a difficult one. If David Haye is to fight Vitali, he's going to go in with a different game plan, probably. He's never really been come forward to fight David Haye. He's going to be, on the back foot, waiting to pounce, and that's difficult because Vitali is strong on the front foot. Like I said, the power comes from the front foot with him. Completely different fight. So I have to realise. But yeah, this video is going on a bit long, but that's my reaction to the fight. Very well done to Dereck Chisora, but also magnificent performance I felt by Vitali in what we should recognise as being a very good victory and against a very tough opponent. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Please let me know your thoughts, guys. How did you view the fight? And in particular, where do you see Chisora going from here? Would you like to see him move on from here, fight fight Vladimir? Would you want to see a rematch with Vitali? Would you want to see him go back and have a domestic fight, possibly chase down Tyson Fury for a rematch? I for one would love to see that, but I don't think Tyson Fury is up for that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.